He was just doing his job, making deliveries to get through the day. But when he found a lost child and helped her home, he never imagined that days later a luxury SUV would arrive with a surprise that would change his life forever. Ben Carter sighed as he steered his old delivery van down another quiet street. It was his third shift this week with overtime, and his body felt it. Bills were piling up, rent was overdue, and he was barely scraping by. But quitting wasn't an option, not when his little sister Emily was depending on him. As he pulled up to the next house, he grabbed a package and stepped out. That's when he heard it. Soft crying coming from the sidewalk nearby. He frowned, turning his head. A little girl, maybe 5 or 6, sat on the curb, hugging her knees. She was alone, no parent, no guardian, just her. Ben hesitated, glancing around. No one seemed to notice her. Something in his gut twisted. He crouched down. "Hey there, kiddo. You all right?" The girl sniffled, looking up at him with teary eyes. I can't find my house." Ben's chest tightened. She was lost. He sat beside her, keeping his voice gentle. "What's your name?" "Lily," she whispered. "Okay, Lily, we'll figure this out, all right?" He pulled out his phone. "Do you know your parents' number?" She shook her head, fresh tears spilling. Ben exhaled. This wasn't just another stop on his route anymore. "All right," he said, offering her a reassuring smile. "Then how about this? You and I take a little walk. We'll find your house together." Lily hesitated, then nodded slowly. Ben had no idea that this one decision was about to change his life forever. Ben walked slowly with Lily, keeping an eye on her as she wiped her tears with the sleeve of her tiny pink sweater. Every few steps she glanced up at him with cautious trust, like she wasn't sure if she should feel safe yet. He wasn't a hero, just a guy trying to help. "Do you remember anything about your house?" Ben asked gently. Lily sniffled. "It's big, and it has flowers." Ben smiled. "That's a start. What color?" She thought for a moment. "White, and my mommy has a car that's really shiny." Ben nodded, scanning the neighborhood. White houses weren't exactly rare, but it was better than nothing. As they turned onto the next street, a woman's panicked voice rang out. "Lily." Lily's head shot up, and before Ben could say anything, she took off running. A well-dressed woman sprinted down the driveway of a massive white house, her heels clacking against the pavement as she scooped Lily into her arms. "Oh my God, are you okay?" she cried, holding her daughter tightly. Ben exhaled, relief washing over him. The woman pulled back, brushing Lily's hair from her face. "Where were you? I've been looking everywhere." Lily sniffled. "I got lost." The woman turned, finally noticing Ben standing a few feet away. Her sharp eyes studied him carefully. "Did you—" She hesitated, her expression unsure. "Did you bring her back?" Ben nodded. "I found her a few streets over. She was scared, so I walked with her until we found home." For a moment, the woman just stared at him. Her perfectly polished exterior, designer coat, expensive jewelry, didn't match the raw emotion on her face. Then, to his complete shock, she pulled him into a hug. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice trembling. "You have no idea what this means to me." Ben awkwardly patted her shoulder. It's nothing, really." She pulled back, wiping away tears. "No, it's not nothing. It's everything." Before Ben could respond, she turned toward her house. "Come inside, please. I want to do something for you." Ben shook his head. "I was just doing what anyone would." The woman's gaze hardened, a fierce determination in her eyes. "No, most people would have walked right past her." She squared her shoulders. "Please, let me thank you properly." Ben hesitated. He didn't belong in places like this. But something told him this moment wasn't over yet. And he had no idea that this family was about to change his life. Ben stepped hesitantly into the house, his worn-out sneakers feeling out of place on the polished marble floors. The house was even bigger on the inside. High ceilings, chandeliers, and furniture that looked like it belonged in a magazine. Definitely not the kind of place a struggling delivery driver usually found himself in. The woman led him to the living room, still holding Lily's hand tightly. She gestured for him to sit, but Ben hesitated, feeling like he might break something just by breathing. She let out a soft chuckle, shaking her head. Relax. I don't bite. Ben finally sat, awkwardly placing his hands on his knees. I still don't know why I'm here. The woman took a deep breath. My name is Olivia Sinclair. She paused, watching for his reaction. Ben blinked. The name sounded familiar. He had seen it before, on buildings, in newspapers. Then it clicked. Sinclair Holdings, one of the wealthiest families in the city, and he had just brought home their lost child. His throat went dry. You're Olivia Sinclair? As in, the CEO of Sinclair Holdings? She finished with a small smile. Yes. Ben rubbed the back of his neck. Wow, no pressure. She chuckled. I imagine this is a little overwhelming. A little? Ben muttered under his breath. Lily suddenly climbed onto the couch beside him, staring at him with wide eyes. Mommy, can we keep him? Ben choked on air. Olivia laughed. Sweetheart, he's not a puppy. Ben let out a nervous chuckle. Yeah, I'm pretty sure kidnapping your delivery guy would be a crime. Lily giggled, and for the first time Ben saw just how much this little girl had been through. He had assumed she was just lost, but judging by how tightly she clung to her mother, there was more to this story. Olivia's face softened. Lily doesn't talk to strangers often. She's been struggling since her father passed away last year. Ben's chest tightened. So that was it. I'm sorry, he said quietly. Olivia gave a small nod. It's been hard, but the way she trusted you so quickly, that doesn't happen, ever. She studied him, which is why I want to help you. Ben frowned. Help me? Olivia leaned forward. I did some digging after you left. Your name was on your uniform, so I called your company. They told me you've been working extra shifts, that you're taking care of your little sister. Ben's stomach twisted. Why was she looking into his life? I appreciate the thought, but I don't need charity, he said quickly. Olivia tilted her head. Who said anything about charity? Ben hesitated. She smiled. I'm offering you a job. Ben's heart stopped. Olivia leaned back. I need someone I can trust, someone who's good under pressure, reliable, and clearly great with kids. She exhaled. Lily likes you. That's rare. Ben blinked. Was she serious? I'm offering you a position on my security team, Olivia continued. Better pay, better hours, and more importantly, a stable future for you and your sister. Ben sat there, stunned. He had just been trying to do the right thing, and now a billionaire CEO was offering him a way out of the life he had been struggling to survive. This wasn't just luck, this was fate. Ben sat frozen, his brain struggling to process what had just happened. A billionaire CEO was offering him a job, a real job, a way out of the exhausting cycle of deliveries, overdue bills, and constant worry about his little sister's future. But his instincts told him it was too good to be true. He leaned forward, clearing his throat. Look, I appreciate this, but why me? Olivia met his gaze without hesitation. Because I don't trust people easily, and yet, the moment I saw you with Lily, I knew I could. Ben swallowed hard. I've spent years surrounded by businessmen, executives, people who only care about money and power. But you? She gave a small smile. You had nothing to gain, but you still chose to do the right thing. That's the kind of person I want around my daughter. Ben hesitated. She was serious. Still, doubt crept in. I don't have security training. I've never worked in an office. You know how to protect people, Olivia cut in smoothly. That's enough for me. Ben exhaled. And if I say no? Olivia shrugged. Then you keep delivering packages, and I keep searching for someone I trust half as much as I trust you. Lily tugged at his sleeve suddenly, her small voice breaking through the tension. Ben? He turned to her. Yeah, kiddo? Her eyes were big, hopeful. Please say yes. Ben's heart squeezed. He had spent years struggling to make ends meet, running himself into the ground just to survive, And now, for the first time, someone was handing him a way out. Maybe it was time to stop surviving. Maybe it was time to start living. Ben let out a slow breath. Then, finally, he nodded. "All right, I'm in." Olivia smiled, standing up and extending her hand. "Welcome to the team, Ben." Ben shook her hand, still in disbelief. He had gone from being a broke delivery driver to working for one of the most powerful women in the city, and something told him this was only the beginning.